What's up, super freak?
What's up, dum dum?
Ugh. I feel like I haven't talked to you like all week.
Well, I think I've just been sleeping all week.
I literally have to.
I say that with the caveat of not actually knowing how much time has passed since I last seen you, what day it is, what month it is, what week it is, what hours are anymore, and maybe I just saw you a day ago or a month ago. I don't know.
No, it's been a minute. And then we kind of missed each other's calls several times this week. And then I think, yesterday I ordered carry out food, or no, delivery food. And then I fell asleep for 2 hours. And then I think you called in. You did call in the time that I fell asleep. I'm like, I don't even know what this week is. And I feel like my head's been like tingly. Like I just been like in a fog.
I think so. I'm almost finished painting my ceiling in my bedroom black.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's working in the sense that I woke up today, made coffee, played around on the computer, did a little bit of work, and then like 4 hours later went upstairs and slept for 3 hours. So
Yeah.
I think my room is really dark and I go up there now and my brain is like, here we go. Making an early show appearance.
It's always this pig. It's always the loudest one that he finds when we're talking. You can't have your pig. Lots of people were sending me dog videos on Instagram saying, my dog goes crazy when Toad squeaks his toy on the show. So it's like, they're like, it's an interactive show for dogs and people. Dude, I had this dream last night. It was so fucking real. Listen, I had a dream. Okay, in the dream, I was asleep on the couch. When I woke up, I don't know how I came to this, to know this, but Toad had been eating people like a werewolf. Like outside, like leaving the house and eating people. And then he was back in the house and I'm like, what did you do? Blah, blah, blah. So then I go outside to like let him out and like poke around and see if he did anything bad. He fucking killed Ariel Helwani and he was dead in my backyard.
Holy smokes, Toad, what are you doing?
I literally can't watch things and go to sleep because everything shows up in my dreams. It's fucking so weird.
So you have one of those, when you dream, you have replay brain, like everything you've seen throughout the day finds a way into your dream?
Yes, I watched Ariel that day, and then when that happened in the dream, I went outside and I looked at Toad and I'm like, what'd you do? I'm like, what are we gonna do now?
I find it fascinating that people have dreams where it is that amalgamation of things that they've seen throughout the day, because when I have really vivid dreams, they are not tethered to any type of reality. Like the dream I had last night was I was in a restaurant and a guy told me that I stunk, and I told him his hat reminded me of a Nazi, and then there were a bunch of Nazis in the bar who chased me out of the bar, and they chased me to a hardcore concert. At the hardcore concert, which was at my old high school, I got locked into the basement and the Nazis tried to pour liquid rubber on me.
What?
Yeah. So my dreams are just mess. Like it doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
I had one of those last night that was like, I was supposed to go to this girl's house and pick her up and drive her somewhere, but I don't know who she is and I don't know who her fucking parents were, but like in the dream, they were fully realized characters. Like I knew them. So I go there and the mom was like, oh yeah, just drive her in my Jeep. And I got in the Jeep and literally on the visor of the Jeep, there was some fucking like goofy, like propaganda words. And I'm like, oh, I don't know if I like these people. And then before we took off, she's like, actually, why don't you take my husband's car? And I'm like, okay. So then her husband shows up and it's a car, but it's also a boat. And they like show it at car shows. And they're like, yeah, just take this weird boat car. And that's all I can remember. Like, what the fuck is that dream? Who are those people?
That's what I mean. That's why it's so funny when some dreams are distinguishable, because I'll go to sleep and all of a sudden, like, I'm on the Love Boat and I'm solving a Columbo mystery. And I'm like, oh, it's because I watched Love Boat and Columbo. And then sometimes Nazis are pouring liquid rubber on me at a hardcore concert at my old high school, which makes no sense whatsoever.
Yeah.
I love it.
Like the people are so real and like the colors and the like I could pick people out of a lineup when I wake up and I don't know who the fuck they are.
Yeah, I draw people out of my dreams sometimes.
I should do that.
I've for real, I have in a lot of my sketchbooks and my dream diaries and stuff, I'm actually really good at drawing the architectural place, like the blueprint for where I was. Like I can do an overhead view and say like I was in this kitchen and walked to that room. And then I'm always on the lookout for that building in real life.
Yeah. The house that was last night was it seemed very much like my dad's neighborhood, but I don't know who the fuck's house that would be. And like the car, it kind of looked, okay, this is what the boat car looked like. It looked like an Evil Knievel / Super Dave Osborne car. Like it was red, white, and blue. The front looked like an old station wagon, and the whole back was a see-through fucking bubble.
I love the fact that there are possibly entire generations of people who do not know what Super Dave or Evil Knievel are.
I know, I realized it when I said it, but it was like a very weird.
You're starting to sound like me.
I know.
God, I loved Evil Knievel when I was a kid.
See, I don't really remember that, but I know who he is. Like,
oh my God, that's the only reason I would do jumps on my bike. It's trying to be Evil Knievel.
I'm sure that went really bad for a lot of people.
That didn't go well for me a lot of the time. The weird rattle trap 70s bicycles that we used to ride, like just poles with wheels.
Yeah.
Full speed toward any dent in the concrete to try and jump it.
I'm just making like a ramp with like a thing and a piece of wood.
Yeah, just plywood and a cinder block.
Yeah. Yeah.
This'll work.
And then it just like falls down.
Yeah. The best is when the wood would crack as you hit it, and then your front wheel would just hit the cinder block and you just flip over the front of your handlebars.
Yeah, not cool. I didn't do a lot of that. I don't like jumping things.
Do you ever get, when you're standing up on high stuff, do you ever get the urge to jump off of it?
No. But that just reminded me of something I wanted to bring up is how I said I wanted to die last week and I was in a bunch of pain and I almost went to the hospital because I have endo. And I said, like, while I was laying there, I'm like, I wish I could just rip my organs out. And you told me that that's like a human thing that really happens, that like when we're in tremendous pain, our brain tells us to just rip it out.
Yeah.
That's so crazy to me. Like, it seems like in that moment, you're just like, oh, if I just do this, it'll be better. But then when you think about it, it's like, no, there'd be a giant hole there and I would bleed out and die. But in your brain, you go through this like weird psychosis where you're like, yeah, I'll just dig it out.
Yeah, I've got a real sharp pain in my neck. If I just got a knife, I could cut that out and it wouldn't hurt anymore. But then you'd have a giant hole in your fucking neck and you'd clip your jugular and you'd die. But in the moment, it makes sense. My toe hurts if I just cut my foot off.
But but when you said that's like a real thing that like humans, I wonder what that's called.
There's a lot of things I think humans do that we don't really talk about, so we don't have good words for them.
Yeah. But I'm sure probably everybody's thought that. Like specifically like teeth when you're little, like it hurts, so you just fucking get it out of there.
Right. Well, that's, I think, where we learn it, right? Is like, my tooth hurts. And then your mom just comes over and wiggles it a little bit and then yanks it out of your fucking mouth.
That's so fucking creepy to think about. Like, why can't we just be born with the regular teeth and then why do we have to rip our own teeth out? It's fucking gross.
Why do we got to be born as big wet sacks of stuff that everything goes wrong?
Yeah, why was I born?
Because someone was getting romantic time.
Yeah, I didn't want to know why. Yeah, that's fucking weird. I was thinking of something else the other day too, where I was like, why is that a thing? It's weird. I don't fucking remember. I didn't write it down. But it was like some kind of weird social construct. I'm like, why do we even... It'll come back to me and I'll bring it up again when Toad isn't squeaking his pig.
Like, why is it like the thing that's weird to me is someone who has dabbled in trying to understand why people are offended about certain things. I think it's really interesting that the only taboo that's really left is like bathroom habits.
Yeah, I don't really like hearing about those.
But I'm saying, like, you don't see it when it's on a television show or something. It's a big deal to show like a girl taking a poop or a guy going to pee. Like, oh, what a groundbreaking show. They showed someone in the bathroom, because you just don't ever see it because it's still for some reason taboo. But I mean, I've told you this before, like, it is the most natural thing in the world when we're on silver ships spinning through the galaxy 500 years from now. There's still going to be a room on that ship where you go and make stinky.
You're so stupid. It's just one of those things that's like everybody does stuff and it's like not worth talking about. You know what I mean? It's like, why?
Right. But there's probably commonalities since we don't talk about it. There's probably a bunch of human commonalities that we share that we don't know about because we don't talk about it. Like, I'm sure there are a ton of people who, for no reason whatsoever other than going to the bathroom, know most of the ingredients in shampoo because they read the back of a shampoo bottle while they're going to the bathroom.
Yeah, but like as a human and as like someone with like vast interests, I don't need more commonalities with people than I already fucking have. Like that's when I don't really need that one. We can skip that one. We can talk about fucking Love is Blind too and skip going to the bathroom talk.
Okay,
So,
but like for me as a paranormalist, the thing that interests me about bathroom talk is there seems to be, when people are taking a poop, there seems to be a trance state that people go into the same way that dogs and cats do when they're going to the bathroom. There seems to be a moment when people are going to the bathroom where they kind of glaze off. It's almost like you don't want to think about the fact that you're pooping, so your brain kind of goes null for a second while it's happening, and then you pop back into reality. I think that's really interesting that there's a poop trance state.
that can't be the name of this episode, bro. I can't. I can't. I learned about 2 new haunted places for us, possibly.
In Michigan?
Yeah. One of my clients, she is cool as fuck the other day. She's a librarian. And we know a lot of librarians, weirdly enough. And
Are you saying librarians?
librarian.
Okay.
But you know how you usually hear that they're like haunted or that weird shit happens when they're closed, blah blah blah. So she said she said there's like 8 libraries in her whatever the fuck, like in their group, whatever. So hers specifically, she hasn't heard anything, but she said there's the Fenton Wine Garden Library. Have you ever heard of that?
No.
She said she hears like through the grapevine, through their network of libraries, that one's haunted. It used to be either a post office or a bank, because they have a vault, I guess, but like I don't know why you'd have a vault if you were just a post office. I don't know, but anyway, but she said she hears stories that it's haunted. And then
They might have a vault for general delivery.
yeah,
You know what general delivery is?
no, I don't know.
Does anybody do general delivery anymore?
I don't
Sorry
know
to side note on your haunted place, but I just thought of this and I think it's interesting because no one ever talks about it.
what is it.
Like if someone wanted to send me a letter, but they don't know my address, they could just send it general delivery to the Royal Oak Post Office. They could just address it like John Tenney, Royal Oak Post Office. And then the post office will keep it in general delivery, find out if I live in Royal Oak and deliver it to my house.
That's creepy.
But you can do that with anybody. You can just write their name. And then if you know the city they're in, you can send it to that city's post office and send it general delivery and it'll usually get to them.
I wonder if that still works.
I mean, it's general delivery. It works everywhere. It's worked for as long as there's been a post office.
Yeah, but I feel like there's been times where I'm like one letter off and I get the fucking thing back.
That's because it's specifically trying to go to the address that you wrote.
Do you have to write general delivery on it?
Yeah, you write like John Tenney, Royal Oak Post Office, general delivery, care of general delivery.
See, now we're gonna get a bunch of that shit.
Okay, what's the other haunted place?
Okay, P.S. side note, I went to our P.O. box today and we didn't have one single solitary thing. Boo. But anyway, second place, she said, was the Holly Hotel.
Oh yeah, I've been to the Holly many times.
I have not.
Well, the Holly Hotel is one of those places that was probably haunted at one time and has now built up so much legend around it that it's probably very hard to divine what is actually real there now and what is just kind of made up over the past 20 or 30 years.
I want to go there.
Yeah, we can go there.
Oh, jeez.
I used to know people that ran it and stuff. I don't know if it's the same people, but
Holly's not. Stop it. Holly's not that far, right? It's like an hour.
yeah, it's maybe an hour away.
Okay. And I get this other story. This is like a weird, it's not that, I don't know. I thought it was weird. 2 things. One, I think everybody's getting sick of the word synchronicities, but Bex from the liminal that I've been talking to, she said that her and her.
Oh my God, well, I'm sorry to interrupt, but
what?
We're going to keep talking about that as you go on because it was something I wanted to say about synchronicities. Okay. So we've just had a synchronicity with synchronicities.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So I was talking to Bex and she said that they have this thing where they call, okay, you know how there's like synchronicities that are like fucking earth shattering and then there's like little baby ones that aren't that great? She said they call those fun syncs. So this is like maybe a fun sync. I really like that term, so we're stealing that. Anyway, okay, so my client the other day, I think we were bitching about, it was just like how it's better to have 2 days off in a row so then you have like one lazy day and one productive day. And she was like, yeah, my mom showed up the other day and with my grandma and they were like, we're going out, blah, blah, blah. And she's in her head, she's like, fuck, I just want to like have my day off and not do anything. But she's like, okay, I'll fucking go. So she goes and hangs out with her mom and her grandma. So they took her to the Polish Cultural Center over here that we like always talk about when we drive past it, right? But it's like, yes. But like really though, how many times in your life have you thought of that place? Me, probably like 4 times in my whole life.
Are you kidding? I used to go there all the time.
Okay, but listen, I don't unless I'm right there looking at it, I don't think about it or it doesn't come up in my life. That's
because you're not a good Polak.
I'm not a good Polak. So anyway, so I wrap up at work, I get home, I get my mail out of the mailbox, and there's this weird You know, every once in a while you get one of those weird religious letters and it's like handwritten. So I got one the other day from some guy named Dale, and I open it and it's got a pamphlet in it for a memorial for the death of Jesus this weekend. That's what they're calling it.
Yep.
Like really weird illustration of Jesus on it. So then I go through the letter and it's really long. It's like, we thought you might want to come to this blah blah blah. Guess where it is? The Polish Cultural Center in the same day, in the same 2 hours. Isn't that so freaking weird? Like, why? Why would they come up twice in one day? So now I feel like I have to go there because I've never been there.
Yeah, we should go there.
Yeah. That was like really weird.
Yeah, they used to have comic book conventions there, so I would go to those comic book conventions, and then every now and then, like my mom or dad would be like, "We should go to the Polish Cultural Center," just for no reason. They'd have, pierogi fest, so we'd go to pierogi fest, things like that.
That sounds pretty tight, though.
For sure.
What's your synchronicity?
My synchronicity is that someone today, yes, it was today, trying to keep my days straight. Someone today said that they wrote me a DM saying like they appreciated my work and whatever. They're my age and just getting into weird stuff. And they had like really become aware of synchronicities. They had never heard the word or the idea before. And I wrote back and I said, so like, you've never heard the word before? They're like, no, it was just never on my radar. And I said, so you'd never heard the Police album Synchronicity? And they were like, oh yeah, I heard that. Oh, I didn't even put that together. That's the same word. And I was like, yeah.
Oh my God. Well, what do they say for like when that happened?
Coincidence.
Yeah, but it's not the same.
I know, but I just thought it was funny because like for me, synchronicity, and this was in this DM conversation, for me, synchronicity was the first time I heard it was the Police album Synchronicity. And I was a teenager and I looked up the word synchronicity because I didn't know what it meant. So I've known the word synchronicity before I was even involved in weird phenomena that might involve synchronicities.
Yeah, it's just a normal word.
Yeah, it's very strange, right?
You know what's weird? Doesn't really have anything to do with anything, but I'm going to bring it up.
By the way, I call small synchronicities photones.
What?
I call them photones.
Why?
Because they're in sync.
You're so stupid. You don't really say that.
In my brain, I do. That's a little photon.
He's like probably the second worst one in the band.
No, that's why it's so funny to me.
Anyway, I noticed today, of course, I had 90210 on. I noticed how often on the show that they say copacetic, and nobody says copacetic anymore.
Wasn't that a song popular at the time? Wasn't there a song that said, or somebody, wasn't it Keep It Copacetic? Wasn't that like a thing that was in a song back then?
Maybe, but I feel like that was a big word to say back then, and now I'm like, I can't tell you the last time somebody said that word out loud. Because Dylan was in a fight with Kelly, and he's like, yeah, we're not exactly copacetic right now. I was like, no, but he says that. Oh, Local H.
Local H is the song, right?
Yep.
Because you just don't get it. You keep it copacetic.
I don't know why when you said that, I thought of like a poppy like song.
No, and that's mid 90s. That's like 96.
Yeah, but this would have been in like 92, 93.
Maybe Local H heard it on Beverly Hills 90210.
Maybe they did. This is like unraveling.
Can you imagine watching a bunch of 90210 and then getting a hit song off of something that Steve says?
Yeah, you're just like wearing a plaid shirt and you're just like, oh, did you hear what he said? That's good. Write that down. Write that down.
Write that down. That guy's a solid 3.
Steve, I swear Steve is my favorite. Don't talk shit about Steve. Don't talk shit about Steve. I just need Steve to do a Comic-Con again so I can meet him. I need to meet one of them. This is like a thing now.
Yeah.
I'm on a journey. Anyway.
Hey, I just got announced today. Did you know that I'm going to be at a convention in Nashville? Are you going to go with me?
When? I want to go to Nashville.
It just got announced today. I'll be at the Strange Realities Conference in Nashville, Tennessee on October 14th through 16th.
Oh, yeah, I want to go to that.
You can come to Nashville with me. Bring Toad.
Yeah.
Toad can get a little Nashville hat. We can get him a little fringe vest.
Yeah. We should go to Memphis, too.
Get him some blue suede shoes.
We should go to Graceland.
Yeah.
You never been, right?
I have not been to Graceland.
Yeah, let's go. I've been once, but I'll go again for sure.
Okay.
That's something to be excited for.
That's a good October trip.
It's a really good October trip. It'll be like perfect down there. But don't you have a thing October 18th?
No, that's October 8th.
Oh, I knew it had an 8. Oh, it'll be a busy little time for you, huh?
That's October. That's the Christmas time.
Yeah, spooky Christmas time.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense. Spooky spring, May 19th.
Spooky spring, May 19th at Stash International.
You gotta make that artwork so I can list tickets for sale.
I'll make some artwork.
I have like numerous little weird stories to talk about. Firstly, have you
Oh,
ever?
and then wait, one other thing is a conference that I'm not going to be at, but the conference that I want to go to is there's a convention in Indiana on September 9th of this year called All Monsters Attack. And the guy who played Ultraman is going to be there.
Oh, brother. And like 9 other people are gonna be there.
Yeah, probably.
Hmm.
That's
Okay.
all. Ultraman.
Was he like 100?
Oh, he's got to be 80 something years old, almost 90.
Okay, we'll plan. I'm gonna have to have surgery at some point this year, so we really gotta. I was thinking September because I don't have anything going on, so
Can't you just cut it out of yourself?
I want to. Ah! Okay, anyway, so have you ever heard of, how do you say it, Hiroshima or Hiroshima?
I say Hiroshima, but Hiroshima is fine.
All right, I'll say it like that. Anyway, have you ever heard of the Hiroshima shadow where
Yes.
you have?
Oh, yes.
Okay, I'm gonna say what it was. Somebody, when that happened, was sitting outside the post office and they got pretty much vaporized, and the shadow of their body stayed on the steps of the post office for 20 years before they had to replace the steps.
Yeah.
That's so fucking crazy.
Isn't that crazy?
Yes. Like, why? What? I can't even think of what would do that. Like, just singed. But why weren't there a bunch of them? Why was there just one?
Well, it's just the direction of the light and the heat, because it's not actually the shadow that's burned on, right? It's all the surrounding concrete of the shadow was scorched,
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, like
right?
lightning.
So the light burned away the top layers of the concrete, making it whiter, and then where the person's shadow was blasted from the light. So the shadow looks like it's burned in, but actually the concrete's burned away.
That's so fucking crazy.
Human beings, we do great things to each other.
I never heard that story before, and then I heard it. I'm like, what? Next weird story. I saw, I think it was Dana Stricker that took us around in Wisconsin when we did that talk in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
So,
Her and Rowan, shout out to Rowan.
spooky peeps. So in Palmyra, Wisconsin, that's like where we were, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. In 1897, it rained worms overnight from the sky, worms everywhere. And they said it was in, like, people had out like jugs for drinking water and shit. There was worms all in the drinking waters, all on the sidewalk. You couldn't walk without stepping on these worms. So we're just like, what the fuck happened? And then it turned out that they weren't regular earthworms. They were gilt edge worms, which are only found in Ireland. So they can't understand how the worms got up in a cloud and traveled over the ocean and rained down on Wisconsin. Isn't that crazy?
Sky Falls.
Yeah, it's called the Jefferson County Worm Shower of 1897.
Sky Falls. It's the Charles Fort. Whenever you hear anybody say that they're a Fortean, it's because of a guy named Charles Fort who used to collect weird news stories. And I know, but one of Charles Fort's favorite things were weird sky falls, when like it would rain fish or frogs or worms or blobs of meat or blood.
Yeah, you got a fish rain on you before.
I did. That's how I got my nickname Trout. It was a fish fell on the car that I was in.
I know, it bonked right off your car, fell from the sky.
Clear blue sky, and all of a sudden, boom, a trout hit the car.
Oh, trout. It's wild.
And people have said, somebody threw it from another car. There were no cars around me. On Woodward at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, who's throwing a trout out of a car?
Yeah, literally, who throws a fish?
And the other thing is, too, just because I know this from my family being hunters and fishermen, when I got out of the car and picked up the trout, its eyes were clear, which means that it was very freshly out of the water, because if you take fish out of the water, their eyes cloud up. And so since it had clear eyes, that means that it was probably alive flying around in the sky.
See, this is so weird. The world is so weird.
That's when I was like, oh, my life's going to be strange.
Oh.
It wasn't seeing a ghost or getting attacked by an alien or seeing a Bigfoot. It was driving down Woodward Avenue and a trout hitting my car.
You got bonked by a fish in the middle of the day.
Can bonked by a fish be the title of this episode?
Yes. Literally, it's better than poop trance. I hate it. Okay, this is like this story is so fucking crazy that I had to tell my client today. And then after I told her, I was like, I think she's a normie. I don't know if I should have told you that story because it was kind of horrifying, but it just came out of my mouth. So I want to say, okay, I don't remember what year it was, but it wasn't that long. No, I think it was like 2017. Anyway, there was this guy in Denmark who built a submarine like for fun. In it was just like it looked like a big garbage, like crude submarine. And the weird part about it is it just floated like a boat. It wasn't like a functioning submarine, so you couldn't like go under with it, but it just looked like a submarine like in the lake. So this guy builds this fucking sub and gets like a slight bit of notoriety around it because it's just like, why did he do that? Why is it out there? Anyway, so this reporter lady in Sweden contacted him several times and was like, can I interview you about this weird sub? Finally he answered and he's like, yeah, meet me at the dock, whatever, and we can do the interview on the sub. So she goes down there, meets him, they sail out, and they're like in it but above the water, right? I guess he steps away, goes in another, I don't know, part of the sub, pulls up videos on his computer of women getting beheaded, gets all fucking psyched up, goes in the other side of the sub and chops her fucking head off.
What?
Yes. So then for the next like while he like disposes of her body. Then to like hide it, he purposely sinks the sub or tries to sink the sub. So then like Coast Guard, they're like, where's this lady? They go look for the sub. They find him hanging onto like a buoy. And when they find him, he's like, oh yeah, the sub started to sink. So I went and dropped her off on an island. And if you just go there, she'll be there and blah, blah, blah. So they go there and she wasn't fucking there, of course. So then I don't know if they went down in the sub or whatever, if he changed his story, but he's like, oh yeah, sorry. I killed her and I chopped her up. See, this is why I shouldn't have told that to my client, but I had to. I fucking had to. But anyway, so this is my thing. Like, why if you were like a murderess and crazy, wouldn't you just like go out in the woods or like go in a parking lot and take somebody? You're gonna like, this is what, okay, let's say you or somebody, you just decided to build like a giant metal rocket in your yard, right? In the front yard. And everybody in town is like, oh, that guy with the fucking rocket, that's weird. And then you murder somebody in it. And then you're just going around like, oh, don't look in the fucking giant rocket. Like, why would you build a giant thing that gets you attention and then kill somebody in it?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Isn't that the fucking craziest thing? Like, that's the most, like, why don't you just put a giant red arrow above your head? Like, where did you don't just you don't just have a documented lady get on your sub and tell her family where she's going, and then you kill her on a fucking sub.
You don't become known as the submarine guy and then kill someone on the submarine.
Literally, what were you thinking? And like, he was like, I think it was like 50, and they had a picture of him, and he was like a decent looking guy. I think he was married and he had kids, and like she had like a boyfriend or something, and like, he just fucking kills her on a sub.
Just more proof. This is just more proof that women aren't safe anywhere.
No, literally nowhere. Not even when you're doing your job, just trying to write a weird story about a guy with a sub. If anybody wants to look that up, because when I heard the story, I'm like, that can't be real. That's fucking crazy. But if you look up Madsen, Madsen, just look up Madsen submarine and you'll find the story. It's fucking insane. And there's like a picture of the sub. It looks like a big black shitty sub.
It looks like a submarine where you build it to kill someone in.
Yes. So yeah, I told that to my completely normal client today who works in net security. I like to give people new eyebrows and nightmares.
You're just telling this woman about another woman being murdered in a submarine as you have needles close to her eyes.
Literally, and she's in my studio building alone. Nobody. Not even creepy.
Don't check my eyebrow studio.
Yeah, don't. The thing I'm known most for, don't look there. That story like blew my mind. It's like, who does that? Like, you could have probably done it even if you went out on a regular boat and did it, but you do it on the most obvious weird thing when it's documented that the person is coming to see you on it. Like, are you nuts?
Yeah, you kill her on land, bury the body somewhere, then sink the sub.
Right.
And then be like, I don't know, I dropped her off on that island and the sub sank. Then they search the sub, it's not on there. And they're like, well, he's the sub guy. He would have put her on the sub.
Or listen, you have her write a nice article about you. You do a perfect interview. They publish this article. Everybody thinks you're so cool and like,
I love how we're fixing
No,
murderer's
we are
mistakes.
fixing his terrible crime. So, yeah, you have her publish the article saying you're eccentric and she had a fun time, blah, blah, blah. She publishes it. You are fine. So then later, you call her on a burner phone and you're like, oh, I really loved your article. I just want to thank you. Let's go get coffee. And then you do. Nobody would ever figure that out.
Call her on a burner phone.
I need to turn off the crime shows, is what I need to do. My brain is poisoned.
You know, for some reason, when you said burner phone, it popped into my head. Do you know what I think is a horror movie that doesn't? I don't know if you've ever seen it,
Hmm.
and it's got to be a decade old now, but I think it's a really good horror film. Do you ever see The Guest?
You know, it's been on every watch list on every streaming service I have forever. And I think I started it once and got 8 minutes in and I got distracted and I didn't watch it, but I still have to watch it.
It's such a good film.
I've heard that a lot of times. And it's by, isn't it a Ty West movie?
I'm not sure who makes it, but it's a good film. It's one of those horror films. It's a modern day horror film that I've probably seen a half a dozen times.
Isn't it like an army vet guy and then something, something, something?
Oh yeah, it goes crazy real fast.
Okay, I'll watch it. It's just one of those ones where it like goes by on your screen so many times and you're just like, just never turn it on.
And it's one of those movies too. I think the thing that I think is interesting about it is that I think it takes place in like Arizona, but it takes place during Halloween. And so like for them to make you understand it's Halloween, there's like a Halloween festival going on at the school and there's pumpkins, but at the same time it's also in the desert. So it's got a really weird vibe to it in that sense.
I think another thing too that other movies do this to me as well and make me not want to watch them for a long time is the name and the artwork are just not exciting for me at all.
If you watch The Guest, if I'm remembering it correctly, and like I said, I've seen it a few times, I think like the opening title screen and stuff is very Halloween John Carpenter. Like it's just very simple, like The Guest.
All right, I'll watch it.
All right, that's my it's for me, The Guest.
Yeah, The Guest. And we're going to an advanced screening of The Northman on Monday.
Oh shit.
I know, I'm so excited. It's going to be so good. I already know it.
I'm going to see my arch rival Bjork.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm going to live through the trauma of her punching me in the face again.
That's like a blessing.
That is kind of like a blessing.
I know. I had Ozzy Osbourne dump a bottle or a bucket of water on my head before.
Well, that's pretty cool.
I know, that's a good one. It's going to be really good. I already know it. It's going to be bloody. It's going to be crazy. It's like Robert Eggers' biggest budget movie so far.
Yeah.
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 Hello, Squeak Monster. The only other thing, I watched that Jimmy Savile documentary on Netflix this week about this guy. And when I was trying to tell people about it, I'm like, when he started out, he was kind of like the Ryan Seacrest of like England, and he was like a TV DJ guy and would like announce people. And then he had like his own TV show, which was like an Ellen, where he would like make people's dreams come true. And then it came out that he was literally like abusing children for like 50 years. So it was pretty brutal, but it was and we've talked about this several times with me about true crime and with just like weird people in general. Like it was one of those things where like when you're watching it now, it's like, y'all didn't know that guy was creepy. Are you fucking sure? Like look at his face, literally look at his face and everything he says and everything he does. Like nobody knew, but they basically say in the doc, and again, not a big fucking surprise, given all that we know that comes out all the time, but he was like in tight with the royals and with, I don't know, other people. And basically people were saying that like people just facilitated it and just dealt with it.
I just don't, it comes right back. I know that this is a thing. Like it's weird to, there's no good way of explaining it, what you just said. I mean, you tried but like, and we all know it, which is there are some fucking people that when you look at them or when they are around, there is something wrong with that person.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Like where was all your like inner instinct? Like he looks like a Muppet. Like you thought that guy was normal and you let him around children all the time. The doc is like a 2-part. Each part is an hour and a half, but there's like nasty details that come out at the end. Like he would take glass eyeballs out of these fucking people in the hospital and make jewelry out of them. And there's like pictures of him with like eyeball rings and eyeball necklaces and they're fucking dead people's eyeballs. Fake eyeball. What the fuck? How can somebody be so famous that they're doing this fucked up shit and nobody says anything?
Because when you're famous, you get away with it.
That's so fucked. That's so fucked. How did they not get like choked in an alley?
But I mean, like, I know people, I know a lot of weird people. I spent my whole life around weird people, whether it be the punk scene or like just weirdos. Like I love weirdos, right? But I'm telling you, if I'll take a famous example, right? If I was kind of friends with a guy and a girl who were dating and they showed up at Gus's one night and they both had necklaces where they had each other's blood in vials around their neck, I'd be like, oh, something's wrong with these fucking people.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But since it's like Billy Bob Thornton and Angelina Jolie, we're like, oh, isn't that weird? They're so quirky.
I know, that was weird.
You're like, no, that's fucked up.
Yeah. And it would be one thing if they like did that for themselves or whatever, but like it's not like you have to wear it on a red carpet and tell everybody. Like,
Right.
I don't know. I don't get it, man. And like also like,
but is that the reason? Is that the reason though? Like, is our internal that person is fucked up detector? Isn't that why it's so shocking when like a psychopath learns to override our bullshit detector?
Yeah.
And people are like, oh, he was a fucking completely normal person.
Yeah, that's why I watch all this shit, because those are the stories that get me. Like, I don't want to get got. I don't want to be like, oh, this person was so cool and they were so trustworthy, and then I'm just in a fucking jug in somebody's backyard. Like, absolutely not. I'm not gonna get got. That's it.
Don't get got.
Don't get got. That's why, quite honestly, that's why I took it so personally and so hard when I got robbed by somebody that I knew and worked with and considered a friend, because I was like, I should have fucking known. That's what pissed me off, is I got like duped by somebody who was shitty and I didn't know they were shitty.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy. Like, the study of the human mind and human behavior is so fucking interesting.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the study of the human mind is so interesting.
He is a man of immaculate timing. Go get it.
Now you're giving him the squeaky pig?
No, the pig is under my leg. He can't get the pig. He has the basketball now. What do you got? Anything?
Oh, I was going to say earlier in our conversation about the Northmen, I know that some people might be interested in this. I listen to a lot of soundtracks and stuff. And there's a musician that I listen to named Sebastian Gainsbourg, and he goes under the name Vessel, but he's doing the soundtrack for The Northman. He just announced it this week, and he's on Twitter. And, you know, if you want like soundtracks, and I'm assuming this is going to be a really weird soundtrack since it's an Eggers film. But here's some guy doing a soundtrack for a Robert Eggers film, and I think he has 800 followers.
Yeah, that's insane. Well, yeah, I can't wait to hear it. I can't wait to see it all. Everything I read is it just says it's a gory masterpiece.
I'm going to assume that since it's a gory masterpiece that takes place in that kind of weird era of Viking magic type things, that the soundtrack is going to be a lot of drums.
Yeah, probably. Or maybe like wood flutes.
Yeah. Wood flutes and drums.
Yeah.
I painted all my outside gnomes this week. Did I tell you that?
No, you did not.
So one of my protection rituals of my house is I have a lot of hidden gnomes all around the outside of my house and hidden fae folk out there, little statues. And every year, part of my ritual for creating the force field around my house is that they all get repainted. They all get new clothes in the form of being repainted, and they all get positioned to look at a different thing. Some people just put stuff in their backyard or front yard and then just leave it there forever. Mine, I go out and I talk to, and I move them around. And
I know. I feel like last time I was over there, you had one by the steps, and I noticed it was really bright.
Yeah, probably the little lady gnome by the steps.
That one's supposed to be your mom.
No, she's just a little lady protective gnome, and she sits by a little deer. They have a little chit chat. But anyway, if people want to do a protection ritual for their house, you have all of these protective guardians outside of your house. Go pay attention to them.
Yeah, I know. All the little creatures are going to start coming out. All the birds are out. Squirrels are out.
Oh my God, have you noticed that the birds are waking up at like 4 o'clock in the morning?
Yep.
It's so weird. They've never been up this early before.
I know. Usually the birds wouldn't hit my bird feeder until like 1 in the afternoon. And lately on my security camera, they're at the feeder at like 6:30.
Yeah.
They're starving.
The little bird's nest that's in my kitchen window, they start chirping at like 3:45, 4 o'clock in the morning. And I'm like, go to sleep, buddies.
Well, maybe it's because your kitchen light on and they think the sun's up. Maybe it comes in there.
No, the kitchen, I keep it dark because I know they're in there.
Oh, maybe it's because they smell you making fucking soup and shit at 3 in the morning. Like, give me some soup.
Give me some soup. I'm a baby bird. I want a noodle.
It's so weird that you brought up gnomes and fairies right after we were talking about the Northman, because I read an interview with Robert Eggers this week and he said a bunch of funny shit. But he said either they filmed in Iceland or it's based in Iceland, I don't remember, but he said that he was stoked that many contemporary Icelanders still believe in land spirits and fairies, and it like helped him like get in the zone.
Yeah, Iceland's still one of those places where you have to pull permits if you're going to build a road or a house because you don't want to disturb the fairy folk that live there.
That's so cute.
Isn't that cute?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it still goes on to this day. There's a whole like gnome council that meets that determines like where buildings can be built and things. And they have to go and like talk to the stones and ask the gnomes if it's okay.
I want to have a gnome council. I'm low-key afraid of the Fae. Like, I don't fuck with the Fae. I know some people do offerings and stuff, but I'm like, I just like don't, because I know you can like piss them off.
Well, it's like anybody. You don't know their motivation, right? Just try and be on their good side.
I do.
So that's what I'm saying with your force field. If you got little gnome statues outside, go talk to them. Stay on their good side. Don't just put them under a bush and leave them there for 5 years.
Put you under a bush and leave you there for 5 years.
I've done that before. Just not for 5 years.
Yeah, you and Josh fell in a bush when you were wasted.
Wasted. I have to come up with a character name for that movie, for Josh's movie that we're working on.
Aren't you just like a ghost hunter guy?
I am, but like we're supposed to be playing characters that are close to us, but not us.
What about
So I'm trying to think of a good ghost hunter name.
Cecil?
No, that's not a good name. I was trying to keep it close to mine, and I thought, well, maybe, some people just have the name Jay, and my name's John. Like, maybe I should just be Jay. But then I realized, like, Jason Hawes from Ghost Hunters is Jay.
Oh, yeah.
So I can't use that.
Is Josh going to have a fake name?
I think so, yeah. We're all going to have fake names.
What about...
What do you think about Leo?
I guess it would depend on the last name.
Yeah.
You're not, like, isn't Leo, like, Italian?
Well, my middle name is Leonard.
Oh, yeah.
So Lenny, maybe.
Ew, you can't be Lenny.
Lenny.
Lenny the ghost hunter.
Lenny Tenny.
That's fucking terrible. I hate it. What about...
What if I use my great-great-grandfather's name?
Is it Cecil?
It's Aladdin.
You can't be Aladdin the ghost hunter. No.
I have a grandpa, Nelson.
Nelson's good.
Nelson?
Yeah, that's not bad.
All right.
It's interesting. Put that one on the list.
Put that on the list for either a first or a last name.
Yeah.
Nelson Toad.
Nelson Toadathan. Like your old movie stars that you like what are their first names? Like,
what do you mean? What are their first names? William, Richard, Dick.
You should be Dick. Dick Nelson, ghost hunter.
That's crazy that you made me. Now I'm thinking about family and names. This is really terrible, but I guess I'm discussing it because my brain just thought it up.
Sure.
Have you ever had a family member where you called them, like literally everyone in the family called them a derogatory name? Because so my Uncle Clarence, his lifelong partner was this guy named Dick, and Dick was overweight, and everybody in the family called him Fat Dick.
Jesus. Hey, but I feel like that's like a 70s or 80s thing.
And then my grandfather, his wife was Fat Sue.
Jeez.
And since my uncle's wife was named Sue and she was Skinny Sue.
Brutal.
And the family would just say, "Did you see Fat Sue today?" "No, but he's talking to Skinny Sue."
That's such like a thing though. Then
right?
I feel like my dad definitely had like friends nicknames, and they just none of them were their real names.
Right.
Yeah.
Shorty McGee.
Yeah. What's the one? I think there's one I can't say on here.
But that was a thing, right? It was derogatory, but everybody just called him that name. That was just their name.
Yeah.
How horrible were we to people in the 70s?
Well, I don't know. I guess it depends. If they were like your close friend and you just said shitty stuff to them, that'd be fine. But you couldn't say.
But if your whole family called someone a shitty name, that person is just stuck with that shitty name.
Yeah, if somebody called me fat, whatever, at our family gatherings, I'd be like, well, I'm not coming anymore.
Like if I was dating someone and they decided their family was like, "Oh, she's dating. Did you see Bald John today?"
You know what's funny? This doesn't have anything to do with anything. It reminded me that my brother and my sister-in-law invited me to Easter dinner on Sunday, and now I guess I have to go. And I was going to ask you if you wanted to come with me.
Oh, man.
Because my brother listens to the podcast all the time. I'm sure he feels like he knows you.
Maybe.
I mean, it'd be free dinner.
What kind of dinner?
Last time I went over there, they had tater tots.
Oh, that's good dinner.
I'll ask him. I don't know. I thought it'd be pretty funny.
Should we color eggs this week?
I haven't done that in probably 20 years.
You come over, we can hard boil a bunch of eggs. We can color them. And then on Easter, you can give eggs to Toad. Hard boil eggs.
I'm not going to give eggs to the dog. He already stinks.
Oh, that's true.
He would just smell like a dead body. Egg boy. Egg boy. Egg boy. He like stopped chewing his toy when I said it. Is that everything?
So I guess I'll try and figure out if I can go to Easter. I might be very busy on Sunday.
You're so stupid.
But I'll check my calendar. I'll see if I'm doing anything.
Yeah, and then you'll text me on Monday and say your phone was off and under the bed.
At least I knew where it was.
God, you're a psycho. Seriously.
Well, I'd let it charge. I don't want it to be in the room with me in case it goes off. I don't want it to wake me up.
You need to have a charger downstairs and upstairs, and you need to charge it where your body is.
Not when you're sleeping. It wakes you up.
No, you sleep with your sound off.
Well, then I can't answer it anyway, so why should it be in the same room, filling my head with all that reptilian 5G?
I don't have the bandwidth for this right now. I just don't. I have to work out. I have to watch spooky shows.
I have to walk to the gas station.
Probably finally not windy anymore. It was brutal today. At least nothing fell in my house, so it's fine. Oh, geez.
Oh, there's the ending of the squeak. It's perfect timing. Good work, Toad.
Gingerbread man. I don't even know where he found this. Why do you have a gingerbread man? Where'd that come from?
All right. Well, you work out. Let him eat his gingerbread man. I'll walk to the gas station. I'll think about if I'm busy or not for Sunday. And then that's it.
Okay. What did we say the title was?
I forget now.
I forgot too.
Poop Trance?
No, not Poop Trance.
That's it.
No, it's gross.
See you later.
Just see what else we said.
Poop Trance. Bye.
Okay, bye.